Most of the time, courtroom drama involves the convict and the victim's family. However, occasionally, judges get their share in it too, and as in the following cases where they were attacked by convicts. We are at the Pike County Justice Court in Mississippi, where Sidney Newsome is facing a domestic violence charge. Aubrey Rhymes, a Southern District judge, is presiding over the session. At first, Newsome appears to be in a good mood as he goes over some files. However, a confrontation with the court officer seems to upset him. The officer then gives Newsome some documents to sign, which he then presents to Judge Rhymes. However, Newsome is not willing to give up on his case yet. Judge Rhymes, who seems enraged by his argument, asks the police to remove Newsome from the courtroom. Newsome then loses it. As he's being led out of the courtroom, Newsome grabs a stack of papers and throws them at the judge. The officer tries to restrain him, but Newsome manages to overpower her. He then throws a telephone at the judge. It is at this point that the judge decides to take matters into his own hands. As Newsome throws more paper at him, Judge Rhymes single-handedly pins him to the table. Eventually, backup arrives and Newsome is restrained and taken from the courtroom. Newsome was additionally charged with contempt of court, being sentenced to 48 hours in prison for this. Sidney Newsome's courtroom antics were definitely crazy, but how does it compare to the case of 30-year-old Bass Webb, who is in court for attempted murder charge?
On this case, I have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for one further setting. Set for the hearing next week.
Webb, a former prisoner who served 3 months in Kentucky prison on assault charges, was captured on camera outside the jail deliberately hitting 2 jail employees with his car. While one of the men he targeted managed to avoid it, the other was not as lucky. Webb was arrested and presented in court before Judge Vanessa Dixon.
Can you order sign? That be yes?
Yes.
Judge Dixon decided to step away from the case since she knew the jail employees beforehand.
I would have to try this case. I have any further proceedings, or I have to see you for one further setting.
However, it is what Webb did next that shocked the whole courtroom.
Set for the hearing next week.
He literally spat on the judge. Judge Dixon charged him and had him thrown out of the courtroom. One would think that Webb would be careful not to break the law going forward. However, he was far from done. While he was awaiting trial, Webb incited a riot at the Fayette County Detention Center with other prisoners. During the ensuing altercation, Webb was shot with beanbag bullets and even hit in the neck with a pepper ball. Webb swung a metal telephone box at a jail officer in retaliation. Webb was put on trial once more for his actions. Prosecution argued that Webb had intended to cause serious injuries to the officer.
If I were to launch this at someone 10 feet away, it's some pretty scary stuff. It's made of metal. Because this is capable of stopping that, does not mean that that is not readily capable of causing death or serious physical injury.
Webb received a 15-year prison sentence for the riot. He was also sentenced an extra 37 years in prison for trying to kill the 2 employees, making it a total of 52 years in prison. If you thought that would be the last time Webb was in court, then you're very mistaken. Webb was again charged with his ex-girlfriend Bria Runawick's unsolved murder while he was serving the prison sentence. Bria's viciously slain body had been discovered at her Cynthiana home. While he was in prison, Webb had bragged to a detective that he killed the 32-year-old. In order to avoid the death penalty, Webb accepted a guilty plea and received an extra 50 years in jail. Surely, there is only so much legal trouble one can find themselves in, but not Webb. As if he hadn't been faced with enough cases, 5 years later, and while still in prison, Webb was haunted by yet another unsolved murder case. This time, the victim was Sabrina Vaughn, another ex-girlfriend who Webb had killed. This time, Webb showed up in court, and this time he was sporting a menacing head tattoo. The tattoo was a murder hit list with all the people he wanted to kill. Cops, judges, prosecutors, the media, 3 crossed-out rats, and many more. After being found guilty, Webb was given a life sentence with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
You have found the defendant guilty of the offense of intentional murder.
Webb's endless crimes and audacious acts in court are truly bizarre. Even more shockingly, it seems he isn't the only one to whom saliva is a weapon. Enter our next convict, Michael Gaines. Next, we have Michael Gaines, who is in court for assaulting a police officer in Wichita, Kansas.
Deputy, it's like evening. You ain't gotta scream at me. You gonna raise your voice at me?
Oh my God.
You raise your voice to me, I raise my voice to you. You just in a row.
Judge Rebecca Hillshaw, who is presiding over the case, confronts him openly about his behavior.
You deliberately.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I know.
The words were that you deliberately were hawking up.
Bullshit. I didn't hawk up no saliva, okay? That's bullshit, and you gonna believe those lies. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't hawk up no saliva. You gonna believe a lie, because they wearing uniform.
According to the police, Gaines is HIV positive, yet he intentionally spat on an officer during a fight in prison. He was brought to court and charged with battery of a law enforcement officer. In court, Gaines sent off things to a rocky start with the judge.
We do respect authority. You're not respecting my authority.
You're not respecting me, okay?
No,
Respect goes both ways. You just a woman with a robe on. You a woman, human being, just like I am, okay? All that criminal spitting out his mouth, this is a robe too.
Do you really think it's appropriate to cuss here in court?
Do you think it's appropriate to sentence me under this racial program you got going here you call justice? Justice. Yeah, okay, justice.
He claimed that he was being set up.
Bullshit, and you gonna believe those lies. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't hawk up no saliva. You gonna believe a lie, because they wearing uniform.
The judge tried to take control of the situation, but Gaines was just getting started. He continued to raise his voice, showing no sign of backing down.
Deputy,
Look at me.
it's
I'm
like
in charge
ignorant.
of this.
You ain't gotta scream at me. You gonna raise your voice at me?
Oh my God.
You raise your voice to me, I raise my voice to you. You just in a row.
What Gaines told Judge Rebecca was utterly appalling. However, it was what he reserved for prosecutor Kevin O'Connor, who bore the brunt of his outbursts. That was the craziest thing ever to be said in court.
I appreciate Mr. Gaines making my point.
You punk,
Very well received.
maggot mother.
And I don't think I have to take insults from
I know. You, you's
He's a tough guy now. But I think
you'll be a after I get sentenced,
I
punk.
think Mr. Gaines is forfeited.
I'm ready to go. I was ready to go. You punk.
The situation was now visibly tense. Finally, the judge, having had enough, asked security to remove Gaines from the courtroom. However, he still had something to get off his chest. And like everything he had said before, it was sinister.
Bullshit, and you gonna believe those lies. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't hawk up no saliva. You gonna believe a lie, because they wearing uniform.
Eventually, Gaines was sentenced to 13 years in prison for his courtroom drama. While Gaines played it rough from the start, our next convict seems to believe that sometimes peers can help you get away with things. Next, we go to the Lorraine Municipal Court, where Zi'Aire Duffy is in court for violating his parole.
I was doing good, Your Honor. I really was.
Duffy's criminal history includes 5 years worth of drug-related charges. He has been before the Lorraine Municipal Court in Ohio so many times that it's clear Judge Raymond Ewers is sick of seeing them.
The 8 cases you had in this courtroom showed to me that you were a potential menace to society.
And today, Duffy is in court again. While on parole, Duffy committed 8 crimes, including drug trafficking, gun possession, and engaging the police in a high-speed car chase. Judge Raymond Ewers has previously given Duffy multiple chances to avoid jail time. However, it seems today the luck has run out.
Judge, the state would ask that you sentence this defendant to the maximum amount of time allowed by law. He pled guilty to 8 separate cases, as you are aware. Back in March of 2017, this court granted judicial release over the state's objection. The state filed an objection on March 8, 2017. Judge, he has been involved in a number of offenses involving guns, drug trafficking, high-speed chases with the police. He has no regard for society.
Duffy had led the police on a high-speed car chase when they tried to arrest him on a different warrant. When the case came to an end, the cops found a Ruger SR-40 handgun, had a significant amount of heroin, and fentanyl in Duffy's car. Assistant Prosecutor Donna Freeman is obviously determined to get Duffy off the streets. She is taking a tough stance. Duffy gets one more chance to explain his actions.
I was doing good, Your Honor. I really was.
Man, I was doing good out there. I was not selling drugs. I was doing none of that. I was trying to get my life on track, man. And this person told me she tried to give me 13 years. advised him. I advised him.
Who was driving that car the other day when the police were chasing you?
I was driving.
Well, I think I've had plenty of time to observe how you would behave after you left prison. I hung significant prison time over your head because the 8 cases you had in this courtroom showed to me that you were a potential menace to society. I gave you an opportunity. I gave you more than one opportunity. I gave you more opportunities than maybe I should have, because look at where we are today. You put people's lives at risk, and I'm not going to allow that to happen anymore under my watch. The court finds the defendant is in violation of his community control as well as his judicial release.
The skilled criminal breaks down and sobs like a baby, a sharp contrast to his violent reputation. The judge appears to be amused by this unusual performance as well, but it seems he isn't moved by Duffy's tears.
I was in that car the other day when the police were chasing you.
I was driving.
Well, I think I've had plenty of time to observe how you would behave after you left prison. I hung significant prison time over your head because the 8 cases you had in this courtroom showed to me that you were a potential menace to society.
The judge begins to read the sentence.
Fourth case, 14 CR 089912. Again, the defendant is found.
It's obvious that the judge is sick of giving Duffy another chance. In the height of disrespect, Duffy turns his back on the judge as he reads the rest of the sentence. The situation is bad, and Duffy's lawyer's facial reaction says it all. When the attorney tries to speak with him, Duffy turns away, stares directly into the courtroom camera, and this time, there are no tears in sight. The judge continues.
I'll tell you, I'm not happy about today.
I'm just asking what's the total sentence, sir?
The total sentence would be for 13 years and 4 months.
So you just gave him 13 years.
13 years and 4 months.
After 3s, 4s, and 5s, though.
That's
How
what
is this a justice system, right?
it's justice because I gave you more opportunities. I'm talking right now. Oh, you don't, do you? Okay, there you go. So long, pal. I gave you more chances than anyone would ever give someone with 8 cases, and this is how you behave. You deserve every month that you get.
Duffy is removed from the courtroom to begin his sentence. As Duffy is led away, Judge Ewers gets to have the parting shot. It seems that Duffy is not the only one with a penchant for breaking the law. Enter Jacob Larson. This is Jacob Larson. What he does in this courtroom is the most theatrical thing to ever be seen in a courtroom. Larson is in court for breaking a restraining order. But how did it get here? Well, Larson believes that his classmate from middle school is his soulmate, and he was committed to doing anything he could to get to her. The obsessed Larson followed the lady on Facebook for more than a year and made numerous visits to her workplace before she filed for a restraining order against him. The judge had ordered Larson to stay away from her, but he still broke the restraining order by sending her 22 Facebook messages.
Out there hanging out at her place of employment, you're putting things all over her car, her managers have got to come in there and ask you to leave.
The hearing started on a good note, with Jackson County Circuit Court Judge John McBain asking him some questions. However, this appearance of peace was pretty short-lived. Drama begins to unfold.
Instigating it though.
Why do you feel that she's instigating?
But she's posting pictures and whatnot, directed to me. All like a lot of makeup, hair done, all that stuff, like full man.
The judge disagreed and gave him a jail sentence, but Larson would not have it, going on to say that the judge and the woman were buddy-buddy.
You had a bad attitude. You had a bad attitude last time you were in court.
You and her are buddy-buddy.
45 days county jail.
Oh.
Okay. 93 days in the county jail. You want to go for a year? Try it right now. One more word out of you, it'll be a year of county.
Over Facebook. Bro.
93 days in the county.
I ain't never tried
Stand up.
The judge ordered that he be taken to jail, but Larson refused to be handcuffed. He clearly wanted to fight the court security, but not in Judge McBain's court. The next thing McBain did was shocking. The judge quickly took off his robe, entered the altercation, and restrained Larson until he was handcuffed.
Put your hands behind your back. Tase his ass right now.